So once you're comfortable, we're all going to just close our eyes and just take a few minutes just to come into your space. And bring your awareness to your body, your physical body. Just begin to notice how you're feeling. And start to relax your shoulders. And then start to bring your awareness to your breathing. So just notice the natural rhythm of your breath. And breathing in and out through the nose. Each time you breathe out, maybe those shoulders can soften down, relaxing the belly. So although we're sitting upright, we want to make sure we're not gripping or tensing any areas of the body that we don't need to. Just see how that face feels around the eyebrows, around the jaw. If it feels a little bit tense, then maybe you can just relax it, release. Continue focusing on your breath. And then we're going to start to extend the out breath. So we're going to take a nice deep breath in, and then as we breathe out, see whether you can just breathe out for about 4 or 6 counts. So just see how that feels for you. Taking a nice deep breath in, and then just to yourself, just counting for around 4, 5 or 6. And just trying to extend that breath. So this just helps us to calm a nervous system and just come into the present moment as well. We might have had a very busy morning. We want to bring our mind and our body back into this present moment. And then just let go of that breathing practice. Keeping the eyes closed, we're just going to tilt the right ear to the right shoulder and just get a stretch down the left side of the neck. And keep focusing on the breath. Use that out breath just to see whether you can relax those shoulders a bit more. And then really slowly roll the head forward so that the chin comes towards the chest. So the shoulders are still upright, the body's still upright, but just the chin tucks in towards the chest. So you're getting a nice stretch through the back of the head and the neck. And then slowly roll the head so the left ear comes to the left shoulder. And again, use that breath just to relax the shoulders a bit, particularly the out breath. Just let the body soften. And then we're going to go back the other way. So bring the head forward so the chin comes to the chest. Stretch down the back of the neck, back of the head. And then roll the head so that the right ear comes to the right shoulder. And just a few breaths there. And then bring the head all the way back to the centre. Now feel free to keep the eyes closed or open them. So we're going to continue with the head movements. We're going to look over to the right shoulder this time. And then we're going to look up towards the ceiling and roll the head round. What we want to do is make sure that we're stretching the chin up towards the ceiling so that the back of the head still feels nice and lengthened. And then look all the way round to the left side and the left shoulder. And then we'll go the other way. So we're looking up this time. So really stretch that chin up to the ceiling so we're not kind of crunching the neck or rolling the neck round. And sometimes when we do that, the shoulders come up as well to protect the neck. We want to keep that length. So just keep moving up. So feel as though the front of the neck's really long, looking up towards the ceiling and back round to the left. And then one more time. So from the left all the way back up and round. We'll just finish the one that you're on and come all the way back to the right, and then look forward to the front and feel free to open your eyes again. So then we're going to just lift the shoulders and really squeeze them up to the ears. So really just squeeze them and hold them there. Squeeze them as much as you can. And then relax them. And really just let them drop down. And then again, so bringing the shoulders up to the ears. And then relax down. And then one more. So really squeezing those shoulders. Maybe you can feel them a little bit crunchy as you do that. And then relax down. So let's just bring some circles into the shoulders. So we're going to keep the back exactly where it is. And we're just thinking about the shoulder blades moving around the back. So we're just getting some nice big circles through the shoulders, opening up through the chest, and then we'll go the other way. So from the back, lifting the shoulders up all the way around. So we're just circling the shoulders to see how that feels for you. So just keep rolling the shoulders. That's it. Now we're going to bring, so if you're sitting on something, then just bring it out from underneath you and just place it to one side. We're going to bring the feet out in front. So keep the feet about hip distance apart, the legs hip distance apart. So they're not totally together, the ankles are together, about hip distance apart. And then lift the toes back towards you. So you're actually stretching the heels towards away from you. We're just going to place the hands either side of the hips. And then we're going to see whether we can pick the right leg up and just hover it off the floor for a moment. And then lower that down. And then pick the left leg up off the floor. So we're using the hip flexor muscle to lift the leg and then lower that back down. So just hovering it for a minute. If that's tricky, then feel free just to bring the arms a little bit further away, so just gives you a little bit more space. So let's lift that right leg, just hover it there for a moment. Then we're going to bend it all the way back in, cross it over that left leg, and then just wrap the left arm around that leg. And just take a gentle twist over towards the right side. So just looking towards the right shoulder and just taking a few breaths here. And then come all the way back. Extend that leg out to see whether you can hover it just for a moment off the floor. So getting that hip to do some work, and then lower it back down. So we're going to lift the left leg this time. So lifting it up, hovering it off the floor. And then bring it in, cross it over that right leg, and then just take a twist over to the left side. So we can just place the right hand on the leg. So we don't want to grip too tightly. We're just gently twisting over to the left side and just taking a few breaths here. So we're just easing the body out, moving it in different directions. And then come all the way back. So we're going to cross the legs again, or come into seated cross-leg position. Then we're going to bring the right arm out to the side and stretch the left arm over the side. And then we're going to go over to the left side. So left hand on the floor, right arm over to the side. So we'll just do that a few times. So we're just easing out of the waist, easing out of the hips. We want to make sure that both sides of the bottom are still connected to the floor as we do that. And then the next time we come over to the right, keep the left arm where it is, and we're going to slowly lower down to the right elbow, and then we're going to unfold that left leg and stretch it out to the side. So we come into this side stretchy position. The right leg can just come out a little bit just to give you a bit of stability. And we're just going to feel that stretch as all the way down the left hand side. Keep that left foot flexed as well. So just flex the toes on the left foot. Really stretch the left hand away so you can really extend through the left hand all the way to the left foot. And then slowly come up. See whether you can just keep that leg where it is. Bring the body back upright. And then we're going to tuck that left leg behind us. So we're coming into this 90-90 seated position. So our right leg is in front, and 90-90 in the sense that the angle of the knee is roughly 90 degrees of an angle. So we don't want the legs to be too tucked in. We want them to be kind of fairly spread apart. And then we're going to press all the parts of the leg that are connected to the mat down into the floor. So it's kind of an actively engaging the muscles. So we're really going to press down, so the ankle, press down through the thigh, press down the knee. So we're actually pressing down into the mat. So it's almost as though we don't look like from the surface there's much going on, but we're really pressing into the mat. Lots of muscle engagement, really pressing down through the floor, pressing those legs away. And then just release and just relax. So you're probably almost like fold back in on yourself because you just put all that effort in. So let's just do that again. So we're pressing the legs down into the mat. So really pressing into them nice and strong, pressing through the back knee, the back ankle. Keep pressing it down into the floor. Keep that pressing, keep that pressure. That's it. Keep pressing, keep active, so it's really active through the hips, through the legs, and then relax that leg and bring that left leg back in. So come back to your cross leg position. Just notice how the hips are feeling. And then we're going to come onto the left side, so stretch the left arm out to the side, bring the right arm up above you, slowly lower onto that left elbow and extend the right leg this time. So we're just getting a nice stretch, stretching the body out all the way down the right side. So from the right fingers all the way to the right toes. And just take a few breaths here. And then slowly start to lift the body up. Keep that leg out if you can. Bring the body upright. So we're just getting a little stretch down this side. And then we're going to bring that right leg behind and come into our 90-90 position on this side. So the left leg is in front this time. Just take time, just a moment, just to bring the feet out a little bit away from the body. And then same thing, so the hands can just sit either side of that front leg just to give you a bit of stability. And then we're going to press all parts of the leg and the ankle and the knee down into the mat. So again, really pressing, squeezing down into the mat. So back knee, back ankle, every bit that's connected, keep squeezing, keep pressing nice and strong. So working on hip strength, just engaging those muscles. Keep pressing down and keep breathing as well. So we want to keep the breath flowing, just keeping it naturally flowing. And then release. So just take a moment there, just so the muscles and the legs can just relax for a moment, and then we'll do that again. So pressing down into the mat. So we're really squeezing down, pressing those legs away, and then just breathing. That's it, keep squeezing those legs down into the mat and then release and relax. So just let those legs come back. So let's bring the legs together, and I'm just gonna turn sideways. So we're gonna roll down to a lying down position. So place the feet hip distance apart on the mat, and we're gonna just place the hands underneath the knees. Or you can feel free, if you've done this before, we're going to roll down in a minute, you can keep the arms out here. So choose whichever one works for you. So we're going to all roll down together, and we're just going to tuck the pelvis under and start to very, very slowly, as slow as we can, roll the body down. So we want to see whether we can think about each part of the vertebrae connecting to the mat as we roll the body all the way down. Nice little bit of core work as well. See whether you can really hold on to that head until the very last minute. Slowly, slowly, brilliant. Can still see some heads up, hooray. And then come all the way to the mat. So we're going to keep the knees bent. Now if you've got that cushion or block very near you, then feel free to just prop the head. It's quite nice just to have the neck and the head propped so that we're not extending the head too far up. So we want to place the feet hip distance apart. And just make sure they're a comfortable distance away from the bottom, so it's comfortable for the knees. And then we're going to place the hands on the bony parts of the hip, so the hip bones here at the front. And we just want to, so we're going to come up into a few variations of bridge pose in a minute, but we want to find our neutral pelvis to begin with. So let's start by just tucking the pelvis under by pressing the lower part of the back into the mat. So if you ever go to Pilates classes or exercise classes, sometimes you're told to press the spine into the mat
and press that back down for kind of abdominal exercises. So perhaps pressing the back down. Now we don't want that, so we want to come back all the way. Let's just tilt it up as well. So arch the back, just so that you can see the two differences. So we're tilting the spine, you can see the ribs come up as well. What we want to do is find somewhere in between that. So we're finding a neutral pelvis where there's a natural curve underneath your back, so you can maybe just fit your hand underneath, or there's a slight gap, but we're not pressing the back down into the mat, so our pelvis is in neutral. So then we can place the palms up towards the ceiling, hands on the floor, just let the arms relax. And then we're going to press the feet into the mat. So like we did in 90-90, where we engage the feet, or engage the legs and press them down into the mat, we're going to do a similar thing here. So we're going to start by pressing the heels down into the mat and see whether you can squeeze through the glutes, so the backs of the legs, the bottom muscles, and then start to slowly lift the back off the mat. And all the time we're pressing the heels firmly into the mat, so really pressing down, really squeezing the heels down, and keep lifting up. So we're not aiming for a particular height, we're going to keep the arms where they are. We're actually aiming to keep these legs nice and strong, building stability through the hips. And then we're going to roll all the way back down. So keep pressing through the legs, so the legs are really working, the backs of the legs are really working all the time. Roll all the way back down. And then when you get back to your neutral position, just take us a few moments or a few breaths, and then we'll do that again. So we always start, press the heels into the mat, switch on the glutes, squeeze the backs of the hamstrings, and then start to peel the spine very slowly off the mat. And see whether you can just bring your mind into the spine and see whether you can think about each vertebrae lifting off the mat as you roll up. So keep squeezing the feet, so it's really strong through the legs, lots going on in the lower part of the body. Try and keep that breath steady as well. And then roll all the way back down. Really slowly, as slow as you came up. Keep squeezing through the feet. And then when you get to the bottom, just let those feet relax, just let the glutes relax, and just take a few breaths there. So we're back in our neutral pelvis position. Just taking a few breaths, seeing how those hips are feeling. You can even just close your eyes just for a moment. Becoming really aware of how your body's feeling. And then we're going to do that again. So we're going to press the heels into the mat. This time we're only going to come up about halfway, so halfway in between your kind of maximum height. So we're going to press the heels into the mat, squeeze the backs of the legs and the glutes, and then start lifting the lower part of the spine off the mat. Just lifting to about halfway. So we're not coming up to kind of the fullest position, but halfway. Keep squeezing through the feet. And then we're going to see whether we can just drop one side of the pelvis. So let's start with the right side. We can even just bring the hands onto the pelvis. It just helps to bring the mind into the body, so we can kind of make the connection, tell the body what we want it to do. So we're just going to see whether we can drop that right side of the pelvis and then squeeze it back up. And then drop the left side of the pelvis and squeeze it back up. So keep working on that and squeeze it back up. What you find is when you want to drop that side, you're actually letting go of that the left glute muscle, and then squeezing it back up. So relaxing the right side, relaxing the glute, and then squeezing it back up. So just do that a few more times. So we're isolating each side of the pelvis, each glute, squeezing it back up as we lift it back up. One more, just to make it even, to make sure you've done both sides evenly, and then we'll roll all the way back down, remembering to keep it nice and slow, placing the spine on the mat, and then just relaxing and just taking a few breaths there. So just let the legs relax. And then let's step the legs out. So we just come to extend the legs on the mat, so both legs are long, resting on the mat. Then we're going to bring the right leg in, but just keep it in that 90-90 angle. So the shins face, so the right leg's bent and the shins kind of facing up towards the ceiling. Then we're going to link the hands together and place the hands just underneath the knee. Now we're not trying to bring the knee all the way into the body. We want to keep the knee as far away as we can so that we can still reach it. So just kind of the distance of your own arms, but we're definitely not sort of bringing it in towards the body. And then what we're doing is we're going to press the knee into the hands and keep the hands really strong. So it's that same thing that we did in 90-90 seated position. So we're pressing up to the ceiling, but of course the leg's not going anywhere because the hands are holding it back. So in equal measures, the hands are holding the leg strong, and that leg is really pushing as though it's trying to escape through the hands. So try and keep the breath steady, keep pushing into the hands, don't let that leg go anywhere. And you might find, if you've not done this before, that the leg does start to shake. That's okay, that's quite normal. Just keep breathing, keep pushing into that leg. So this is great for improving the stability around the back of the pelvis, building that strength around the hip joints. So keep pressing the hands, keep pressing the leg, keep pressing, and then just relax that leg, relax it down, relax the arms, and just taking a few breaths here. It's just nice to notice how that right leg is feeling. Just taking a few breaths with the legs extended. And then we're going to bring the left leg in this time. So we're going to do the same thing. So keep the leg sort of away from the body, just far enough away so that we can still reach it. Clasp the hands, place the hands over the knee, and then start to press that knee up. So we're trying to push that knee up towards the ceiling, but of course nothing's actually lifting because the hands are holding it back down. The right leg foot is relaxed. So we're just working on this left leg, really pressing into the hands, keeping their breath nice and steady. Keep pressing that leg. So it's the kind of thing that looks like there's nothing on the outside, but you know that you're really working on that stability, lots of muscle engagement going on. Just keep breathing, a few more breaths. And then let that go, let that leg relax. I'm going to come into our final relaxation. So just a very short time just to let the body ease out. So just take notice of how the legs are feeling, the hips. And just gently closing the eyes. Just let the body rest on the floor just for a few breaths. Just surrendering the body to this moment just to be able to relax and let go. Just taking a few moments for you. Just being still and just focusing on your breath. And feel free to stay there for as long as you want. So if you would like to come out, just gently step the legs back in, bending the knees, and then rolling over to one side. So if you feel comfortable there, please feel free just to stay where you are. This is your time, your practice.
Well, you can come back up to a seated position.